Hello everyone. Today I thought we would explore something really quite magical, and that is the art of storytelling in our art journals. Really, storytelling isn't just about words on a page necessarily. It's also about connecting to our inner world and making things perhaps meaningful to us. When we tell our stories through art, we're giving our emotions and feelings and memories a voice, aren't we? And by doing that, we're giving ourselves space for healing, for growth, for reflection. So today, I'd really like to talk about the power of storytelling in our art journals. It's just a personal reflection, what it means to me, but I would love to know what storytelling also means to you in your art journal, if you love doing that too. And if you're just starting out on your art journaling journey, then I hope you get some ideas and inspiration along the way. I'm also going to be sharing an old folktale from Devon, from the West Country. And the story is lovely because it's all about gratitude. So I'll be sharing that too. So let's get going. So I thought we'd start by looking at why stories can be so powerful in our journaling journey. Well, for me, and this is just a personal viewpoint, just a personal perspective, art journaling isn't just about making beautiful pages. Of course it is, because I like to build up a nice visual image, of course. But it's also about my thoughts, my emotions, my experiences. It's an escape for me. When I piece a collage together, what I'm really doing, I think, is trying to create something, a place, a landscape where I would like to be. A landscape that I can imagine being in myself, being there. Sometimes actually in the picture, or just maybe standing on a hill and looking down at the scene, or sitting on a rock and admiring the view, looking at the wild ponies. It's very much about being in that place and wanting to be in that place. But that's a personal journey, and we all have really different reasons why we love art journaling, and we all have different emotions when we're in the process and when we look at our finished piece. And when we tell a story, whether it's a real story or an imagined story, it gives a little bit of context to your art sometimes. For example, if you draw a tree or paint a tree into your picture, maybe it's a tree with a happy memory. Perhaps you used to climb that tree as a child. Perhaps you used to sit under it. Yes, perhaps you used to play around it. So quite often we paint things that bring us joy, maybe have something meaningful in our lives. Colour too. If you really love colour, some people say that the colour that you put into your painting can represent various different things. So stories can really give your paintings, your work, your art, your visuals meaning and depth. Now, another really good reason, I think, for storytelling in your art journal is that it can help process emotions. Now, I'm not a psychologist and I'm not an expert, and this is just a gut feeling. And there's plenty of research out there on journaling and the power of doing it for our well-being and all of that. But for me, writing or expressing a story in my journal can often help me understand something better, soothe a certain part of my heart or soul, if you like, and can help me reflect on things. So I'm not saying it's a little personal therapist or anything, but there's no judgment, is there? You go into your journal, you can do what you like. I often say this, it's our journal. We can do what we like in our journals, and that's a wonderful, liberating experience. So I think it can understand things better. For example, as a child, I used to often stay with my grandfather, my grandpa as I called him. He lived near a place called Oakhampton in Devon, and he was of big influence in my life because He taught me so much about country ways. He lived in a little cottage in quite a remote area on the edge of Dartmoor, and I remember very clearly helping him with the chickens, riding the horses on the farm next door, and just a wonderful experience in terms of being amongst all the wildflowers in that area, and it having such a profound influence on me, getting up at the crack of dawn, 5 o'clock, to go down and get the milk from the old milk churns, ladle it out into a kind of metal jug and taking that back up to the cottage. And I just have such strong memories of that, that I know that large parts of that joy is woven into my art and storytelling. He was Scottish. He wasn't originally from Devon. Devon was a long way from Scotland where he lived, but he loved it and he settled very well in the area. And it also showed me that you could move to another area, and if you were proactive and you took part in the community, then that's a wonderful thing. So I learned quite a lot from him. I remember very clearly him having a lot of knowledge about flowers in the countryside. So yes, very influential. So I know that memories of him are woven into my art journal and into the stories I have in my head when I start working on a project. So why else is storytelling so powerful in our journals? Well, it can keep memories alive, and art journaling can be a little bit like a scrapbook meets diary meets gallery in a way. It's a little bit of everything, isn't it? I've heard that before and I love it. Telling stories, especially personal ones, I think can preserve moments, but of course you don't have to. You don't have to put any of your personal memories into it. No, you can just be inspired by a host of other things. It could be a photograph that inspires you of a place, or it could be some characters and personalities, some events. All sorts of different things can go into art journaling. So what else does storytelling do? Well, I think it helps creativity because stories spark our imagination, don't they? And we can respond to a story, we can build on it, we can change it. We might start off with a little kernel of an idea and end up creating a beautiful abstract piece just inspired by your feeling at that particular time. I also think stories can connect you with others because I'm going to be sharing a Devon folktale. And when I shared the tulip bed story a little while ago, I had some lovely comments from people that said, I love old stories, I love old folktales, I love fairy stories, and I love the magic of that. So that's another really lovely thing. So those are, I suppose, the main reasons why I love storytelling and why I'm going to be telling a story today. Do you like to tell stories in your art journal? Or are you thinking of starting? Because it really is wonderful. It can make the picture jump out at you in a way that can really enrich the experience. So let me share the old Devon folktale. Today we're heading into the misty heart of Dartmoor, a place wrapped in legends and stories and folklore. So today I'm looking at the legends around Pixies, or Piskies as they're sometimes called. Playful, mischievous spirits, often said to dance through the moorland mist, and also can be a little bit naughty, maybe changing or twisting the paths of those who forget their manners. And that's often a recurrent theme in stories. Little pixies who get up to all sorts of mischief. And I've got this lovely book, Tales of the Dartmoor Pixies by William Crossing, a book that was written in originally 1890, first published. And we get to hear about all their mischievous little ways in this book, which is rather lovely. But today I'm not going to focus on the mischievous little pixies. I'm going to talk about gratitude, and that's the theme of this story today. And that's why storytelling is so lovely, because we can tap into our emotions and thoughts and ideas, and gratitude is such a lovely idea, isn't it? And gratitude is something that can make our days so much more meaningful, just being thankful for all the little things. So that's the theme of this story. So where are we going to start? So there are many folk tales around Devon, Dartmoor, where if a farmer left out some perhaps bread or milk by the gate or by the door, then the pixies would in return maybe do some little favours for the farmer, some little jobs around the farm. For example, helping with the sheep, the lambs, helping maybe sow some seeds, some vegetables, some fruit, helping harvest, helping look after the flowers in the garden. So there are lots of stories around that. For example, the tulip bed, which I told some time ago, classic story around the little fairies, the little pixies and the old lady who was very kind to the pixies, leaving out food for them during the cold winter months. And she was also very kind to the birds, making sure they were fed over the winter when the snows came on the high moors. And in return, the pixies looked after her beautiful gardens and laid their babies in the cradles of the tulips, in the bulb, in the flower. And I think that's just a lovely idea. Gratitude, even for the smallest things, is powerful, isn't it? So in this journal spread, I really wanted to make that a focus of the storytelling and the unseen magic that's always around us in nature. If we just slow down a little bit, I think, and just see if we can smell the roses, to use that idiom. Yes, just slow down and notice all the little things. So this collage is a homage to those stories where the farmers left out the bread, the milk, the cheese sometimes, and the pixies would do these little favours in return. So we have the little lamb at the bottom. I've collaged that little lamb in. Many of these little bits and pieces I've got from charity shops. I do a lot of charity thrift shop trawling to get bits and pieces for my collage. We've also got the basket down here with the bread and the cheese. Very nice. We've got the cottage at the top, quite remote, with a little path leading down. And at the front we've got the flowers, the butterflies, the birds, all of nature, and the fairy folk, little pixies, hiding amongst all this foliage, helping the farmer, the kind farmer. So I love that idea of a symbiotic relationship, if you like, between these little magical creatures and the farming folk of Dartmoor and the high places. So here's the finished collage. Thank you so much for spending this creative moment with me. I hope you enjoyed this little reflection on the power of storytelling in our art journals. And if you did enjoy it, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does make a big difference. And also, if you've got a moment, tell me in the comments, what's a small moment of gratitude that stayed with you these last few days, this week? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a good and safe week, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.